Jingar Duggar's honest quotes about her upbringing, cult comparisons, modest dressing, and more. Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. For Duggar family latest news update, please subscribe the channel and press the bell icon. Jinger Dugger has been honest about the challenges of growing up in the TLC spotlight and of breaking free from the conservative teachings of her childhood. Jinger is one of Jim Bob and Michelle Duggar's 19 children, who were raised as followers of the Institute in Basic Life Principles, a fundamentalist organization founded by the controversial leader Bill Gothard. Fans watched along as Jinger and her siblings navigated their daily lives on 19 Kids and Counting, which ran from 2008 to 2015, and the spin-off Counting On, which aired from 2015 to 2021. After stepping away from the world of reality TV, Jinger began to form her own ideas about faith with the help of her husband, Jeremy Vuolo, whom she married in 2016. I'm grateful for my childhood. It was not perfect, but at the end of the day, I'm grateful for my parents. Jinger said on the Unplanned podcast in June 2024. I love them. We have differences. Everything's not perfect between us. But I think that at the end of the day, I love them, and I know that they know that. Jinger previously opened up about her upbringing in her books, The Hope We Hold and Becoming Free Indeed, detailing the quirks of her religious background and the different perspectives she has now. Her latest memoir, People Pleaser, which debuts in January 2025, will delve deeper into the not-so-healthy path she was on. I realized I was a people pleaser from the time I was a teen. There is people-pleasing that shows up in everybody's life, every single day, and I think that's why now is the time to write this book, she said on the Jinger and Jeremy podcast in September 2024. It's such a problem, and it will always be a problem. Scroll down for Jinger's candid commentary on her unconventional upbringing. Love notes from prison. Being part of a recognizable family came with a few surprises. Guys would write from prison for my sisters. It was crazy, Jinger said on the Dinner Party with Jeremy Fall podcast in July 2021. We constantly had letters coming in the mail, and it was like, oh, who is it for this time? Oh, it's for Jana. Oh, it's for Jessa. It was mind-blowing just to think that somebody thought they would walk right into your life and marry you, like they were already basically proposing in their letters. Jinger added that some of the inmates might have believed the proposals were legit, saying, I can understand how somebody would think, oh, I know you so well, because I watched you from a child grow up. So they think that there's a relationship there when there's not. It's like a one-sided thing. Cult-like faith. Jinger exclusively told us in January 2023 that she definitely recognized that her religious upbringing was cult-like in many ways, adding it was built on fear, manipulation, control, and superstition. So all those things combined in how hard it is for kids to leave or adults to leave anyone, really. Once you hear the teachings, you're not supposed to depart from those. In an interview with People that same month, Jinger said that she was often crippled with anxiety growing up due to the fear and superstition encouraged by Gothard's harmful teachings. I was terrified of the outside world, she admitted. The teaching I grew up under was harmful, it was damaging, and there are lasting effects. Jinger further reflected on the IVLP environment in her 2025 book, People Pleaser, claiming she was taught a form of Fox Christianity that was all built on the appearance of holiness. She continued, it was so important to uphold this appearance that many underlying issues, struggles, and sins were pushed far back, never discussed, never dealt with, unless it was in a twisted form of confession that still never really dealt with the issues. If you messed up in that setting, you were at risk for losing your community by not living up to the Gothard standards. Bond with her sisters. In her 2023 book, Becoming Free Indeed, Jinger revealed that out of all 9 of her sisters, she feels most connected to Jessa. She is my closest sibling in age, only 13 months older than me. She is 5th, and I am 6th of 19 Duggar kids, Jinger wrote. Growing up, Jessa and I were together all the time. Though all the Duggar girls shared the same room, I often felt like I was roommates with only Jessa. Our beds were next to each other for my entire childhood. Being on TV, Jinger and her siblings were first featured on TV in 2004 before 19 Kids and Counting premiered in 2008. I look at those years, and I'm really grateful for the opportunities that I was able to have. She exclusively told us in January 2023 while reflecting on growing up in the spotlight. Like, we traveled the world, things that we wouldn't have been able to do as a large family. At the same time, I can say I saw, also, those challenges that came with it. At the time, Jinger explained that she and Vulo talked about whether they wanted to raise their own children in the public eye. The couple welcomed daughters Felicity and Evangeline in 2018 and 2020, revealing in 2024 that baby no. 3 is on the way. I spent most of my life on TV, that was my childhood, she told us. Like, that was all I knew. I played with the boob mix and all of that, but my kids are just so not used to it. So it's kind of interesting to see. The family rules. Fans have long been fascinated with the Duggar family's strict expectations for their children under the IBLP teachings. I thought I had to wear only skirts and dresses to please God. Music with drums, places I went, or the wrong friendships could all bring harm, Jinger told People in January 2023. During an appearance on the Unplanned podcast the following year, Jinger admitted that many of the man-made rules don't make sense, like not being allowed to wear t-shirts. If you have a normal shirt, you're allowed to roll up your sleeves, she explained, but you can't buy a t-shirt that has the sleeves already off. There were also guidelines put in place for courtship, with dates requiring a chaperone. You know, you can't kiss before you're married. You can hold hands, but I don't see that in the Word of God, Jinger told us in January 2023, revealing how she plans to approach the topic with her own children. I don't think that courtship is a word that we're going to use with them at all, because I don't think that that's the only way to find a spouse or the best way at all. Living with 18 siblings. Jinger admitted on Unplanned in June 2024 that she was afraid of the pressures to have as many kids as possible before she became a parent. She recalled having to take care of 2 of her own siblings when she was younger. I think that parents should take care of their kids. If you have them, you should take care of them. Kids can help out, learn responsibility in other ways, but maybe not in the motherly aspects of what moms or dads should be doing. She said, "You have all these imbalances of kids raising kids." I think that I saw that a lot in the system, and I think that that is unhealthy. Jinger also remembered the IBLP teachings impacting her family's life in unexpected ways. We would never do organized sports because we were afraid of influences around us, she said. And so we would do a family sport in the community, and we would all play that together. Looking back, I'm like, oh, I wish I would have had maybe more opportunities to explore what I was really interested in that way. Not enough food. During an August 2024 episode of the Jinger and Jeremy podcast, Jinger spoke candidly about growing up with 18 siblings. I remember a few times when we were very young, some of my siblings would take their plate of food, get ready for this. It's disgusting in the bathroom, she recalled. They would carry it and put it on the bathroom counter. My mom would be like, "Don't do that." They're going to eat it. Jinger added that's literally what they thought. I'm not going to be able to eat my food because somebody's going to take it, and we might not have enough food for seconds today. A lack of arguments. In People Pleaser, Jinger wrote that she feels naturally wired to find arguments especially stressful, but I also come by it through years of my upbringing. According to Jinger, life in the Duggar household was in some ways a lot like what you would have seen on the television screen. We just didn't argue, debate, or engage in conflict, adding that Jim, Bob, and Michelle consistently and gently modeled a completely conflict-free environment to us. Looking back, the practice came with pros and cons. Arguments were to be avoided at all costs, which meant that, more often than not, you'd have to push down any squabble or disagreement in order to maintain the peace. For some of my siblings, based on their personalities, that was probably pretty tough for them. For me, it was kinda great being in a home where non-conflict was the expectation. Not necessarily healthy, but very much my jam, she wrote. Learning to understand pop culture. Jinger revealed in People Pleaser that her extremely sheltered background often made her feel like she wasn't speaking the same language as others when it comes to pop culture. I saw very few movies and listened to very little music, other than hymns and classical compositions, when I was a kid. So there are times when I'm chatting and laughing with a group when someone brings up a line from a movie or busts out with a lyric from a popular song, and I'm left thinking, huh, she wrote. It's always a weird moment for me, feeling like I'm the only one who doesn't get it. Despite feeling behind the curve, Jinger noted that she was happily diving into a range of Oscar winners, comedies, and epic fantasies with the help of her husband. There are so many great movies out there that I'm now getting to experience, she wrote. Swimming in skirts. Jinger got candid about one unexpected drawback of dressing modestly in her 2025 memoir, revealing long skirts were not designed for learning how to swim. She confessed another way of saying long skirt swimmer is one who sinks. And because long skirts were the only swimming fashion available to me as a kid, and because I had a thing about not wanting to sink, the skill of swimming was not something I picked up during that time. Counting on Jill Duggar shares update after crash with illegal driver. Counting on alum Jill Duggar Dillard is back with new updates following her recent accident with an illegal driver. The 33-year-old mom was hit by a driver who didn't have a license. Jill's kids were also in the car when the incident happened. Since then, many fans have been curious about how they're doing. Keep reading to see Jill's latest updates. Counting on, Jill Duggar reveals crash with illegal driver. Jill recently took to Instagram to share that she and her kids were hit by an illegal driver on February 13, 2025. The driver didn't have a license, making things more complicated for him/her. The Counting on alum later said that she's now suffering from chronic pain, and even asked her followers for advice on how to ease the pain. She was also thankful that the crash wasn't as bad as those she had seen on TV. She continued, I keep telling myself I'm so grateful that like it was not worse. We had our kids in the car with us, which terrified me honestly. Jill shares updates after crash with illegal driver. Jill Duggar Dillard is back on Instagram to share updates following her recent car crash. The Counting on alum revealed that they got rear-ended, which turned their Valentine's Day into doctor's appointments, phone calls, and paperwork. Jill added that her boys massaged her foot and gave her roses for the special day. Derek also prepared a home-cooked steak, and it seemed the family stayed indoors for the special day. Jill also shared a photo of her car after the accident, showing how nasty the damage was. Counting on, Jill Duggar planning to sue. Jill Duggar Dillard also revealed in her previous Q&A that she's thankful to have a lawyer husband, implying that she's planning to sue the illegal driver. The Counting on alum said, I'm trying to figure it all out. We are trying to figure it out. Thankfully, I have a husband who is an attorney. Makes my mind rest at ease a little bit better. Jill has yet to share the steps they had taken against the unlicensed driver, but it seems they're not letting him/her get away after putting her kids' lives in danger.